All right, welcome to another episode from the Chart Reader. So I want to look at three on this one. I'm going to cover SoundHound and SOFI as I have before together, and then I think I'm going to take a look at SMCI if I have some time on this. Seems to be a little bit of a hype on that thing. Clearly a gap down that has good potential to get filled, right? But SoundHound, look, I always say this, right? These five computer generated lines are significantly better than my simple human clicks, right? I'm also not clicking for perfect. You see me zoom out and make good clicks, right? So there's a point where, yeah, I'll give myself a little credit and say the click was good, but yeah, when the moving averages start to dictate the truth, that matters more. And really, the moving averages are saying, let's take the 8 and 20 up. Let's go away from this. We might still be playing a little bit of a channel game, and I'll talk about the up and down potential. But I really don't care about this line as much as I have for I don't even know how many videos, right? I'm seeing the 50 golden cross. It looks like the 100's about to golden cross and 200 right behind it, right? So plenty of lines to make me believe this is pretty insignificant at this point, all right? And that's a beautiful thing for SoundHound. Hey, clearly earnings as well, right? Not SoundHound earnings, but NVIDIA earnings. And I think that's going to echo for all of these, right? NVIDIA, in a lot of ways, dictates what the NASDAQ will do. The NASDAQ dictates what all these little stocks in the tech world are going to do, right? And hey, respectfully, especially when you're comparing it to NVIDIA, SoundHound, SOFI, and SMCI are all little stocks in NVIDIA's tech world. You know what I mean? So gotta love what we're seeing here. I'm actually going to delete this line. I'll delete it when we get into the details shortly, all right? SoFi, beast mode, all right? They're beast mode. Like, everything that I say on all my videos is right here, right? The 200 moving average is such a hard line to battle. Battle. Try, fail, try, bounce, go. You break all five and fly, bouncing on the 8 like a champion. We've never even used, like, there's so much green over red. Look at all that volume, basically living at this is what a sustainable uptrend looks like, right? And oh man, there's so much good to say, but yeah, two-word summary here really simply is beast mode, right? Bouncing on the 8 like a champion. That's what this looks like to me, right? And then SMCI. Look, I'll be real honest. I haven't been paying as much attention to this thing as I probably should have, given how high the volume's been going, all right? So if I'm not mistaken, this gap down had to do with some sort of silly audits and this and that. Listen, I'm baseline shocked that a forward split stock all of a sudden is down here. When a stock forward splits, they're trying to establish themselves as a real player. They're not some reverse split silly four letters. They are a forward split important company. And man, to lose all five and die the way that this did, this should be following the first two up, right? This should be following QQQ, which has basically been going up, right? Instead, I mean, not at all, right? So a little bit of silliness going on with what really should be a better stock. Look, that said, red can turn into green very quickly, right? Once you get over the 8, you got to believe you're going to go to the 20. We are over the 20 for sure, all right? But we need more than a single candle, right? So I want to believe we're going to the 50. I need just a little bit more, but hey, liking the things going on down here, right? So a lot of good to talk about on this video, and I am excited about this one, right? But before we do go any further and I give you more of my thoughts and opinions, what are we going to do? Same thing we always do, right? We'll take a look at the daily and the weekly to see how these things are setting up short term. We have our 5 moving averages. There are horizontal support and resistance lines that I do draw manually myself. And then when we are done up here, we'll use the MACD, RSI, and volume as our lower indicators. Hey, really quickly, if you can, please subscribe to this channel. Share this video online with your friends. Comment good or bad if you disagree. Look, anything you can do helps so much with these YouTube algorithms. But for real, just being here, giving your time, oh, I am so grateful for it, all right? So, SoundHound, look, I have been wildly scared of this $5.21 line. I have no problem using the word scared either. I don't think that's dramatic or anything at all, right? So this has been a crazy line. No, sorry, that's the only view. Man, I look at so many stocks. I don't know how far to zoom out. So for a little bit more than a year and a half, right? So from April of nope, this year. Yep, from April, sorry, oh, you would think I'd practice these things before I hit record. From April to this year, all the way till basically November, right? We were just living under that line. And one big thing I did was I drew this RSI line. I'm deleting this here, okay? Clearly, it's still going to be a little bit of a struggle, but look, I am now starting to fear this line less. Like I said in the intro, right, in the opening thoughts, all of a sudden I am starting to believe in the moving averages, right? We haven't quite broken all five and flown just yet. You can definitely say those were three good candles. And look, my last video talked about the silliness of the earnings reaction, and I'll do that a little bit more shortly, right? But the break all five and fly really wasn't as pretty as SoFi. I think that's an easy thing to say. You know what I mean? There were a lot more green candles in SoFi than there were in SoundHound. Okay, that said, it really looked good before earnings. I thought earnings weren't that bad. I really did. And I said that on the last video. And again, look, my simple human opinions don't matter, right? The market reaction matters. And it looked bad. A gap down on earnings is never a good thing. But hey, the 20 moving average decided to say, you know what? I'm going to hold. And the one thing that I'm never here saying TA is the thing, or there's so many different types of technical, and like, look at all these different things, right? Like, I don't know half of them. The moving averages help me keep things in check. And the one that this one kind of reminds me of is Lunar. I'm not covering it on this one, but look, that single candle was earnings. And man, it held the 8 moving average. It held my line, but again, I care more about the line, the moving average, than my line, right? And I didn't think earnings was that bad. I thought it was a little bit of an overreaction to a single part of it. And hey, knock on wood, the 8 moving average did the job and it held and blah blah blah, right? Like, that's what's happening with SoundHound. It wasn't the 8. The 8 wasn't strong enough to hold it, but hey, that's why the 8 and the 20 go together, right? So beautiful work right here with the technical analysis. I'm looking at this right now. So this is the biggest candle to the left right here, right? The 11.7 candle. You can see that this thing closes at $6.95. I realize it's only a couple pennies, but we are over the biggest candle to the left. That does make me believe that 721 should be next. Truth be told, at this point, I even think 780 is real. This is a real nice 65. I deleted the 79, 78 RSI wall because, again, right now, I'm here believing that we are setting up to break all five and fly. I'm here knowing that SoundHound has done it before. We've been in the 90s, right? We've done it before. I mean, it's still this year. Yeah, it's the beginning of this year. We were at 93. We were at 92, right? This was the first NVIDIA pop, right? Like, it knows how to do it up here. It's just been struggling, in my opinion, because of this 521 line that's no longer a thing, right? So I think this is next. I think the RSI is low enough to actually get us over that line, okay? Maybe we'll come as high as 830, all right? I'm taking a guess at the RSI. My opinion is, sorry, I'm zooming too much. We're going to go up to 830. We're going to come down back to that 780 and then run. Right? That'll help us go up, come down, go up, keep this healthy. Again, look at SoFi, right? SoFi goes up, comes down, goes back up. The whole time it's just riding the 8 and doing beautiful things, right? So that's what I feel like should be happening, right? This was a pretty hardcore line. It slowed down a lot of this year. You know, I think this was a little bit of an overreaction to earnings. I think NVIDIA doing the job gets us a gap up over that 8, and there we go today, right? So SoundHound. This has been a tricky stock, man. This really has. But hey, I still remember this $2 range not that long ago, right? Actually, the year started here, right? Most of my viewers, at least at the start, maybe after this NVIDIA section, things change, but man, I know a lot of the OG chart readers are $2 and under holders, right? So they're just laughing as people are sweating over $5. They're living at more than 2x already, right? So you gotta remember how much something has moved in a year and kind of have to take some of that stuff into consideration, right? But I'm loving the weekly. Okay, clearly it's still a little early, right? We still have a full week to go, and tomorrow, no, we don't. Wow, man, it's been a crazy week. I can't even pretend it hasn't. But look, this week's probably going to end. I would love tomorrow to close over that. Oh man, 720 tomorrow, SoundHound. That's the goal. That's what we're looking for. I want to get over that candle on the weekly. Even if we don't, I like this MACD. I like this RSI. That's a real healthy 65. Sorry to zoom in and out so much, but right there, we were at a 90 on the weekly not that long ago, right? So, yeah, I think that 820, 830 might actually be a legit target. Give me a good confirmation tomorrow. Give me that 722. That'd be beautiful, right? Get me to here. It'll close the weekly well. It'll close the daily well. Oh, it'll get us excited for next week. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions, even if you disagree. Let's come talk about SoFi. Sometimes I feel a little silly making a video about a stock that's just crushing it, right? How many educational things can I say about a stock that's looking like this, right? So, dude, beast mode, right? Like my girls out there, dude, that's beast mode, right? Like you break all five and you fly, you bounce on the eight like a champ. You've never really even needed to. You're keeping this 20 moving average as fresh as you can, right? Like you can only bounce on a line so many times, and hey, let's keep this thing fresh and not have to use it, right? All of a sudden the 20's over the golden line too. So I have very few fears of me losing the golden line because hey, I've got two good moving averages right above that thing, right? So a lot of good happening here. Real quick, if you can subscribe, if you can share, oh, it does wonders with these algorithms, all right? So what's next for SoFi? Look, I think at this point we got to start looking at the weekly a little bit more. Okay, man, we are living at an 87 2 weeks ago, an 88 last week, and we're now at an 89 as of what assumes to be this week's close, right? I don't know if tomorrow will go up even more and then push that to the 90s, right? But that's crazy high. And SoFi historically has, number one, never been this high, right? Like this is the highest SoFi weekly ever. I'll draw the line, right? On the weekly, I think this is the highest we've probably been before, a 73, right? So we are pushing as hard as this stock can do, right? And again, I love it, right? This is just a single indicator, and hey, though I always warn at the 80s, this goes here, right? Like you can break it. It's a beautiful thing, right? I think at this point, it really feels like the lowest this would probably go is 245. I don't even know if this is going to go lower than that third. Yeah, I can't give that the assumption. I think the hopefully 13 holds. Hopefully this doesn't go down any lower than 13. This is wildly bullish over that number, right? When we're on the daily, I think it's a little bit, yeah, 1360 should be a good strong line. You can see that's the bottom. I'll draw that. I will draw. I think it's still a little early. I think it's still a little early. But look, hopefully this does not go down below 1360. All right, bottom of that candle, top of that candle, roughly the bottom of that candle right there, right? So I would say easy to say very bullish as low as 1370, I think it's very easy to argue that it's still very, very bullish as low as 13 or this 12 number. Look, a fall from 15 to 12 is $3, okay? Roughly speaking, that's a 20% drop right here, right? Every $1.50 is 10%. I'm talking about a potential $3 drop, right? So it's what I literally just said on QUBT. If you're ready for a stock to go from 4 to 2, let the moving averages do their job, you can take some good advantage of it and go on and do some good things, right? So at this point, there's really two assumptions I'm going to have. Number one, this is going to continue to bounce on the 8 moving average like it has, and this thing is actually never going to go below 14. And I probably should have started with that, not really ended with that, right? But if you're looking at the box over there, today the 8 moving average is at 1405. 1405 really is the first line. So this thing has proven itself for the last month, almost 2 months now, right? So hopefully we don't lose 14. From there, that 1360, I think that makes it a lot harder to even consider a full 20% drop, right? So maybe only a 10% below is not a bad thing. And hey, this actually is saying even less than $1.50, right? SOFI, beast mode. It really is. Look, RSI is definitely high on the daily. It's definitely high in the weekly, but it's again, I don't know how educated these thoughts were. Hopefully they were solid. I would sum it with $14 is I think the best thing to say is anything over 1360 is wildly bullish. 14 should actually be strong enough to hold. That's probably where I'll end it with right there. Let me know your thoughts. Sometimes when a stock is too good and I get too excited, that's what happens with these videos. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions, even if you disagree. Let's come into SMCI. Okay. Two things, all right? I always say reverse splits are death and forward splits are good, okay? It shocks me that this thing fell a little more than 50% from the reverse split point, okay? This gap down had something to do with auditors, if I'm not mistaken. Again, I really haven't been looking at this. There's been so much good in the market, right? Like, nonetheless, this is now starting to get very interesting. I clearly regret not looking at this the last few days, right? But when you're able to basically live around 100 million shares and you're actually pushing a little bit more than 200 million shares on some of that, volume is king and queen for the ladies out there, right? So have to start to pay attention. Look, we're not at an all-time low point, all right? There's still a lot. I'm going to delete this line because that line right there was probably from the before reverse split point. There's still a lot between here and there, right? But the real issue is there was a big horizontal point right here, and then the next one is all the way down there, right? That's pretty insignificant. I wouldn't draw that. That's pretty insignificant. I wouldn't draw that. Give or take, that is where we're at right now, though, right? This is holding a little bit better than I probably would have expected, actually. But again, it's kind of the gap up point, maybe. So I guess I can see it, right? But I guess I'll just draw this now that we know. 1688 did a pretty good job right there. I'm going to delete that line. We don't need that line. We really don't. This is the view right there, right? So from there, all of a sudden, there was some like NASDAQ confirmation and stuff like that. Again, I really don't play those kind of trades. Again, I kind of regret that I didn't, right? Looking at this thing. But you hear me say it all the time, just on the technical side. You fall away from the 8, you come to the 8. You fall away from the 8, you come to the 8. You fall away from the 8, you come to it. If you break the 8, you're going to go to the 20. If you break the 20, you're going to go to the 50. Right now, we're over the 20. I just don't know quite yet if we've broken it or not, okay? Hey, I see the green over red on the MACD and the RSI for sure. I see that the RSI is a very, very healthy 55 for sure, right? I also see that this thing kind of struggles to get really over this 55-ish, right? I'm like, oh my goodness, right? Just you keep zooming out, keep zooming out. That's a pretty common place that this thing lives. And for give or take the entire year, there was probably a 3-week window where we were over it, right? So It's a line you gotta give some respect to, kind of like I was with SoundHound back in the day, right? However, there's a couple things that I'm not sure if I shouldn't focus on. All right, the first one is Nvidia. Nvidia is in a lot of ways what the Nasdaq's going to do. Nvidia dropped some good earnings that could help the Nasdaq, and that can help the Nasdaq can help all these tech stocks, and all of a sudden that could be a fast move up to the 38 buck range, give or take, right? um i would say I would say our money line. How high are you? Oh yeah, that's our money line. Well, I'll set an alert right there. That's a little high. Maybe we can lower it. How low are you? Yep, 31. I'm going to set my alert at 3103. Again, an alert is not an immediate buy notification, but hey, there is, I'm going to just draw this really quickly, right? The 50 moving average is right there. We are down here, right? That's a lot of green, red, green. Nothing. This is a fast little channel that we're sitting at. I can see a good quick run to 38. Again, my alert's at 31, right? So if I can go from 31 to 38, that's a little bit more than 20%, right? I'm adding more than $6 to that thing. So there's some interesting stuff happening right here, to say the least, okay? If it was to reject, I think it would come back down to this 2750. If it loses 2750, it will be a fast fall. I'm gonna guess the math. It'll probably come to here, maybe 24. Okay, must stay above 2750. I think 31 is our money line for a potential 38 plus target. If we lose 2750, I think it's $24, and must hold $24. Otherwise, you saw how low the next line is. I'm not going to say that number. I think that's way too low a number to even consider as a target. But hey, for sure, if 24 is lost, scary things can happen quickly, all right? Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions, even if you disagree. Oh, I appreciate you so much.